what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And so today we have some breaking news. Owner Stephen Ross for the Miami Dolphins, he has been fined $1.5 million. He has been suspended for 6 games, and the Dolphins are going to give up the 2023 and 2024 first round draft pick. Obviously, the draft has already happened, so they can't take away this year's first round pick because they already picked somebody. And it is because he tampered with Tom Brady in 2019. He talked to him while he was still on the New England Patriots throughout the whole season into the postseason. This is how far it was going, from August all the way to the postseason when the Patriots were still in the playoffs with Tom Brady in this last season with New England. So, yeah. Supposedly the judge has claimed that there was no tampering. Not tampering, I'm sorry. There was no intentional tanking, because that was one of the other allegations that former head coach for the Dolphins, Brian Flores, had stated that on top of the tampering allegation with Tom Brady, that there was a allegation about tanking football games. And there's just a big contradiction here. Now that Roger Goodell, he is essentially the Supreme Court when it comes to the NFL. He could lessen this decision or he could make it higher. I think the owner here's my take on this. I think the owner should be forced to sell the team. I think he should be at least suspended for definitely suspended for a full season, but because he's the owner, he gets off only half the season, basically. I think he should be forced to sell the team because he violated the integrity of the game. He broke the rules, and I believe he did tank. There is no way he'd been talking to Tom Brady the whole goddamn season while he was in New England, when he was still a New England Patriot in 2019, and did not intentionally lose games in 2000, or try to lose games in 2019. There's no way in hell you can convince me otherwise, because why the hell would this dude contact with Tom Brady the entire season just for the team this year to win? He didn't need the 2019 team to win because he knew he wasn't going to get to the playoffs. He knew the team wasn't going to contend. Okay, right? He knew the team wasn't going to contend. So why would he be like, oh, you know what? Let's just not win these games here. Let's just not win these games here because it's it's 2019, right? We're going to get Tom Brady next year, so we're going to be good. We're going to be good. We're going to be better. We're going to be better than good, because keep in mind, this is before he drafted Tua. This is before they drafted Tua, because they drafted Tua in the 2020 draft, because this was after Tom Brady went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in 2019, he was on the New England Patriots, right? Tom Brady was on the New England Patriots still. And this dude, this owner, Stephen Ross, was talking to Tom Brady the whole season from August, before the regular season started, into the regular season, all the way as late as the postseason. The postseason, guys. The playoffs. When Tom Brady was in the playoffs still. Okay? And you going to tell me that this guy was going to be like, oh, you know what? We're going to still try to win games. No. Because if they didn't win these games, right? They didn't win these games, then guess what? They get an easier draft pick to help Tom Brady. Draft a wide receiver or draft somebody, that can benefit Tom Brady, as he comes in to the Miami Dolphins, because that was their plan. So yes, I don't believe this. I think this was them trying to minimize the damage. They were trying to minimize the damage and just say, you know what? We have proof that he tanked. We have proof that he did tamper with Tom Brady, but we don't have any evidence of tanking. Because again, tanking is hard to prove. Tanking is hard to prove because it's like, are you intentionally forcing your players to lose? Like, you would actually, the players would have to knowingly know this, rather than calling plays, because coaches would have to call in plays that they know that the players wouldn't be able to execute for it to work, and that's going to be hard to prove. All right, that's going to be a hard task to prove, and that's why I think the findings were that way, because that is going to be hard. It's easy to figure out if someone talked to somebody that they're not supposed to talk to. All right, like talking to someone who's on another football team. Okay, it's easy. It's easy to talk about that. But it's easy to prove something like that. It's not easy to prove that you can intentionally lose football games, okay? If you have a team that just sucks, you're going to lose anyways. I mean, for the most famous case is in 1989 when Jimmy Johnson, the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, okay, his team sucked. And he knew his team sucked. But did he intentionally tank games? No. Did he intentionally lose games? No. But he knew his team wasn't going to win because his team sucked. He didn't have any talent. All right. He was building for next year's draft. And that's why he traded Herschel Walker and got that big trade from the Minnesota Vikings. But he wasn't intentionally trying to lose games, though. He wasn't trying to intentionally lose games. He just knew his team wasn't good enough to win. Managed to lucky enough to win one game, and that was pretty much the season for the Cowboys that year. Okay, but getting the point here is it's hard to prove intentionally tanking because, again, the players would have to know, or the coach would have to intentionally put in plays that he knew that the team wouldn't be able to execute and go positive without actually anyone knowing. If the players wouldn't know, that's going to be hard to prove because no one would be able to recall that. And no one would be able to confirm or deny something like that because they wouldn't know. But I believe Stephen Ross did tank games. I think it's just one of those things where it's like it's going to be hard to prove because you need a smoking gun to prove that players intentionally lost a game or tried to lose a game. So that's what I think. I'm really, really pissed off about this because I'm going to be honest, I think he got off easy. I know $1.5 million is a lot of money, but for him that's nothing because he's a billionaire and shit like that. So that's nothing for him. Okay, that's nothing for Stephen Ross, but for someone like us, that would be something, but not for him. And the suspension for 6 games, obviously, him being suspended for 6 games is just him being away from the facility. Obviously, he still pays the check and shit, because he's the owner. But I think it should have been for the season. The only reason why it wasn't for the season was because he's the owner. If this was a player doing this shit, man, I guarantee you this guy would have been gone for a year. Like, bro, it's just like this dude, okay, got off easy in his standards. And now the Dolphins are going to have to eat it because they're going to lose 2 first-round draft picks for the next 2 years, which definitely is very significant because you can't trade them to anybody. You know what I'm saying? You can't trade them to anybody. I think the Saints, traded their first-round pick when they got penalized, so they took like 2s and 3s away from them instead. But the Dolphins, in this case, hadn't traded their first-round picks, so they just took away 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. And that's definitely going to stand. I believe Roger Goodell is going to keep that the way it is. The only thing, because Roger Goodell can, change, lessen it, or greater it. The only thing I think could possibly happen is Roger Goodell might make it a longer suspension, which I think he should. I think it should be half the season. I think it should be at least 8 games. I think it should be at least. I think it should, personally, if it was up to me, he'd be gone for a year. He'd be gone for. I would try to get him to sell the team, too. By the way, I'd be more strict on this bullshit, because I mean, you're freaking contacting people that you shouldn't be contacting. They're on another team. That's integrity of the game right there. Not that the NFL is that great when it comes to integrity these days, but it's still something that I think should be taken seriously. I know some people will say, oh, well, the NFL doesn't take that seriously anymore. Well, I still think there should be some type of courtesy when it comes to that. And I do think it should still be taken somewhat seriously when this shit goes down. Players, owners, whatever. And, I don't want someone running a team like that. I mean, we already got the cringe carnival Daniel Snyder, unfortunately being still allowed to own a team. Yes, he's still owning the team. Like, man, freaking these people, freaking saying, oh, he's not in charge, his wife's in charge. Bullshit, he was at the freaking owners meeting. He was at the was at the freaking reveal for the stupid Washington Commies, as their freaking dumb cringe name now. He was there for the unveil. Obviously, he's still involved with the team. That bullshit that the NFL is trying to say that he's not involved with the team anymore. Or the day-to-day operations. Man, Roger Goodell, man, you better watch it, bro. You better watch it, because you're on subpoena now. He's on, dude, because they did that House meeting a couple of months ago with the House of Representatives, and dude, Roger Goodell, bro, they do realize that can be used in court, right? Like, for perjury and all that bullshit. They do realize that, right? Yeah, dude, he was caught in so many lies. He lied about Dave Portnoy. I know that. We know that one. We know that one was true. Whether you like that guy or not, we know he lied about him on the freaking stand. Like, Roger Goodell, man, this guy's got balls, man, because, I mean, this dude's got balls, because, I mean, when he lied on the stand. He lied on the stand. I still can't believe he did. But, man, I think he's going to make the suspension greater than what the judge recommended. I don't see him lowering it. Because if he does, people are going to be, telling him, well, this just proves you're, a dictator, essentially, when it comes to the NFL. Because you're not even listening to an actual legal judge's opinion, on the punishment, so what's the point of hiring the person? You know what I'm saying? So I do think it's either going to be what the judge recommended, or it's going to be a little more. Because then, he caught himself in a corner. Roger Goodell's been caught himself in a lot of corners. Like I said, he lied on the stand multiple times with when they were doing the Washington Commies, freaking whole investigation or whatever. So yeah. They're gonna really be on that guy. I hope it goes somewhere. I mean, geez. I mean, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be wasting your time on that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but if they didn't, then we wouldn't get anywhere with this crap, and they would continue doing this shady bullshit." This is why we need them. This is why actually politicians should be involved in certain stuff when it comes to issues like this, because you got so many people that are just getting away with shit, and then it's like, oh, well, we're just gonna, cut it down. We're just gonna let the story go away. We're gonna let the story go away and shit like that, and then nothing gets done. I know some people don't like it because it's like, well, we got other things to worry about in real life, but sports should be up to a standard. There should be integrity. It shouldn't be this bullshit. It shouldn't be this bullshit where it's like, oh, they're just allowed to do whatever and, not face consequences to certain stuff. And that's the biggest problem. Dan Schneider supposedly violated, people in the workplace or whatever with, his stuff. And still we don't have anything concrete about that. He got subpoenaed by the House, and there's still no update on that. He's just going to keep dodging it for the rest of, the term, probably hoping that Republicans get the majority in the House so he doesn't have to worry about them because the Republicans will basically be like, we're not going to do anything about it. But, that's what he's hoping for right now. Because I do think they should be. Because if they don't, then nothing gets done. I think with the Dolphins, this Sean Ross guy, they should be on his ass too. They should be forced to sell. They should have him sell the team. He should be forced to sell the team, just like Snyder. Everyone's talking about Snyder selling the team. He should be able to freaking sell the team now because he freaking violated integrity of the game. He freaking called Tom Brady throughout the whole season. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, didn't care. He didn't care. And he still did it, even though he knew that he shouldn't be doing it. The competitiveness is over at that point. They should be on these guys. They should be on these owners. This is why I'm so glad I'm a Packers fan. Okay? Even more now, because the Packers are owned by the city. So they can't be screwed by these stupid-ass owners. All right? We're never going to see the Packers have to change their goddamn jerseys to some stupid bullshit jersey. All right? These fancy-ass stupid jerseys that they're coming out with now. We're not going to see these freaking bullshit decisions being made, trying to cover shit up or whatever. You can't see that in Green Bay because Green Bay is owned by a city. The Packers are owned by a city, not this bullshit cover-up crap that's going on with all these other owners, all right? I'm not saying that every owner is bad, too. I'm not saying that every other NFL owner is bad. Obviously, there are some good NFL owners that are good people, but there's a lot of these scumbag owners that just think they can do what they want. Obviously, Snyder is on top of that list. He basically ruined his entire franchise. They forced to change a name that wasn't actually offensive to many natives. And now they're freaking they're a cringe name now that freaking is abbreviated for commies. You got Stephen Ross that freaking, you got Stephen Ross who, obviously, I believe tanked games. I believe, obviously, communicated with someone that was on another team, shouldn't have been able to do that. Robert Kraft, obviously, prostitute. Where the hell did that go? You got a drunken owner in the Indianapolis Colts, has a lot of issues. Kroenke, the cheap bastard that forced the team to move, broke the rules, should have been forced to lose his team right there. So many owners that have not been held accountable. I think there should be a standard when it comes to the owners because obviously the players have a certain standard that they got to follow. Why can't these owners have the certain standard? And the only way it's going to happen is if politicians are actually involved. Because, at least with the owners, because it's like the owners think that they can just do what they want. They just think they can get away with certain stuff. And again, there are some great owners out there. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a great ownership group. Obviously, the Packers are owned by the city. There are some great owners out there. But there are some of these scumbag owners that, I just think, something's got to be done. And nothing's getting done when the politicians aren't involved. When all of a sudden, when they forced Goodell to come and testified, or whatever, on the House meeting or whatever, at least there was things that were said that we could try to go back to. I mean, I question Roger Goodell on some of those things he said. Like I said, he lied on a lot of things. He lied on a lot of things on the stand. Okay, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, it doesn't matter to me because, again, when it comes to the sports issue, something needs to freaking happen and there needs to be results. And it seems like all of a sudden only things are happening when they're they're basically forced at the helm by Congress. So maybe they should be forced to be forced to be seen by Congress more often. Not that I trust as much with Congress, because Congress and the Senate are a cringe fest these days, being divided on a lot of things, but at least something is going to happen, and maybe they do this with Stephen Ross now, the same thing what they did with Dan Schneider. But I think he should be forced to sell the team, just like Schneider. Obviously, the NFL is gonna just put them both on a bow and try to just make this shit go away. And that will be the end of it, But yeah, guys, I'm really pissed off about it, and it's my thoughts on Stephen Ross. Kind of got a little off topic on other issues as well with the NFL, but that's just my thoughts, guys. Brian Flores was completely right. I believe him for this issue. I don't know about the whole Giant allegation or whatever. The Giants obviously bombarded him, I guess, or at least from Bill Belichick's perspective, from his text messages. But in terms of the Dolphins stuff, I believe Brian Flores now. Like, this is pretty much proof to me, good enough proof for me to be convinced that, Stephen Ross was doing some damn dirty, shady shit, basically. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or my videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for all the latest contents, and subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku Moderator. Peace!